um, 1 John chapter 4, I believe. 1 John chapter 4, verse 7, where it talks about love. And, if you don't love, there's no way you can know God if you don't know love and all of that, for God is love. I'm paraphrasing. So I did the meditation, and my meditation God gave me was 4 things to remember on how to love the unlovable. So it was like, okay, the theme is on love, but what about when you have to deal with someone who's not so lovable, right? And we know that God uses, we'll say, the opposite characteristics or opposites to sharpen our tools, our fruit of the Spirit, right? So in order for us to grow in love, we have to be challenged in that area. So we will have to be challenged with someone who is not so lovable. So the first thing to remember is, first of all, remember that you're not perfect. So we have to remember that we are not perfect. I am not perfect. You are not perfect. And the person at the time who's not so lovable, who's giving you attitude and all of that, we're all, human. We make mistakes. We all have things going on. And some people, they're just naturally seem to be unlovable. So the first thing is, remember that, we're not perfect. Number 2, remember that there's a deeper issue going on with that person who's coming off as being unlovable, who's coming off as being bitter, resentful, hateful, mean, just mean. Some people could be just mean. But I always know that there is a deeper root issue to that characteristic. Hey, Della. Hey, Phyllis. I'm at a red light. And so remember that. We have to be mindful of all these things. Remember, we're not perfect. Remember, there's always a deeper issue when someone is not displaying a lovable characteristic, a kind-hearted spirit. There's a deeper issue. There's a root cause. So always know that. Number 3, remember that we are commanded to love. We are commanded to love. The Bible teaches in the Gospel of John, Jesus said, if you love me, then you will keep my commandment. And one of the commandments is what? To love. We are to love our neighbors as ourselves, and we are to love God with all our heart, our mind, and our soul, with our entire being. And so we are commanded to love. We have to remember that. It's not an option. It's not a choice. It's something that we have to do, to love. And in having to love, we have to, what else? Forgive. It's actually 5. I said 4, but it's actually 5. Remember that we are commanded to forgive. We have to forgive. We cannot take everything personal. And yes, our little feelings get hurt. But you know what? As we always say, someone has to be the bigger person. So get over your little self, and I have to get over my little self and be the bigger person. Be the more mature one in the spirit, right? And so as you grow and mature in the spirit, you're able to handle people in a more mature way. You're able to forgive, faster. You're able to really deal with the issue and take it for what it is and handle it the way that God would want you to handle it. And number 5, because it's actually 5, even though I said 4. I did a combo with the 4th one. And the last thing to remember when you dealing with loving the unlovable is remember that when you love on someone who is not lovable, who is not kind, who is not nice to you, who mistreats you, who's harsh to you, when you encounter those types of people and you deal with them the way that God would want you to, remember that at that moment, that you are being God's hands, you are being God's feet, and you are being his heart. And that is what people need to see today. They need us to show them God in the flesh. We need to represent God and represent him well. Doesn't matter how people treat us. We need to still maintain our position as a Christian believer. And when we get out of position, we need to get back in position. And so those are the 5 things on how to love the unlovable. Share this out. Sharing is caring. Give me some hearts. Tap on the love screen. Comment below of what did you get out of this 17th day of our 31 Days of Purpose for July. And then I'll be back. Now my next live will be about the best is yet to come. That was the sermon from last night. So I will share what God is speaking as it relates to that. And so we will talk to you soon. Toodles.